Lawyers, what's the coldest inheritance letter you've ever had to read out loud? I've been an estate attorney for 23 years, and I've read hundreds of wills and inheritance letters. Most are straightforward, some are emotional, but one letter still haunts me to this day. The client was a wealthy businessman named Theodore, who came to me 6 months before he died of pancreatic cancer. He was calm and methodical about his estate planning. He had 3 adult children and a wife of 42 years. When he handed me the letter to include with his will, he said simply, "They need to hear this after I'm gone." Every single word. I read it privately first, as I always do. My hands were shaking by the end. Theodore passed away on a Tuesday in March. The following week, his family gathered in my conference room for the reading of the will. His wife sat in the center chair looking appropriately grief-stricken in an expensive black dress. His 2 sons sat on either side of her looking impatient. His daughter sat alone at the far end of the table. I explained the standard proceedings and then opened the letter. To my family, if you're hearing this, I'm finally free of the burden of pretending. Let me begin with my wife. 42 years of marriage, and you thought I never knew about the affair that started on our honeymoon. I knew everything. I knew about the hotel room charges. I knew about the phone calls. I knew that our oldest son might not be mine. I had a paternity test done when he was 3 years old. He isn't mine. I stayed because divorce would have cost me my company. I stayed because I wanted to watch you grow old, knowing that I knew and you didn't know I knew. You get nothing. The prenup you signed without reading includes an infidelity clause. My lawyers have documentation of 17 affairs over 4 decades. You will leave this marriage with exactly what you brought into it. Nothing. The wife's face went completely white. I continued reading. To my oldest son, you're not my biological child, but I raised you anyway. I paid for your education. I funded your failed businesses. I covered your gambling debts 3 separate times. And how did you repay me? By stealing from my company for 12 years. The forensic accountants found everything. You embezzled over $2 million. I could have had you arrested, but I wanted something better. You're not in this will at all. Additionally, I filed a civil suit that will be served to you tomorrow morning. You'll spend the next decade paying back every cent with interest. The oldest son started shouting, and I had to call security to keep him in his seat. I kept reading. To my younger son, you were actually my biological child, and I had such hopes for you. Then you married that woman who convinced you to put me in a nursing home against my wishes so you could move into my house while I was still alive. You told the staff I had dementia. I didn't. I recorded every conversation where you discussed selling my possessions while I sat in that facility alone. You also get nothing. The house you're currently living in has already been sold. You have 30 days to vacate the property. The younger son's face crumbled completely. His wife started crying loudly. I turned to the final page. To my daughter, the only one who visited me in that nursing home. The only one who believed me when I said I was fine mentally. The only one who tried to get me out of there. Everything goes to you. The company, the properties, the investments, all of it. Estimated value is $47 million. Your brothers will tell you to share with them. Don't. They had their chances. Your mother will cry and beg. Remember that she let them put me in that facility and never once questioned it. I loved you. You were the only one who loved me back. Use this money to build a beautiful life and never feel guilty for being the only decent person in this entire family. I set down the letter. The room exploded. The wife was screaming about hiring lawyers. The sons were threatening their sister. Security had to escort everyone out separately for safety. The daughter was the last to leave. She stopped at my door and looked at me with tears streaming down her face. Did he really know all of that the whole time? He spent his last 6 months documenting everything meticulously, I said. He wanted them to know he was never the fool they thought he was. She nodded slowly. Good. That was 4 years ago. The daughter runs the company now quite successfully. The wife lost everything in divorce proceedings. The oldest son is still paying back the embezzlement. The younger son rents a small apartment. The coldest inheritance letter I ever read was also the most deserved.